Hi, so let me ask you a question. You ever wished for a magic tool that would help you manage your workload? Let me introduce you to that tool today. I'm Tracy Johnson with the Tracy Johnson Media Group. In my 40 years in radio, I've seen some revolutionary changes. And today I want to introduce you to the next big leap, which is using AI in radio. More than 40 years ago, yeah, that's me, back when I had hair. I was among the first programmers to use music scheduling software. This is at KFRX in Lincoln, Nebraska. A lot of skeptics at that time, they doubted how music software would be able to be efficient, how it could schedule music better than a human being. But over time, it revolutionized how we worked. I mean, imagine scheduling music today using 3x5 index cards on paper and pencil. You couldn't imagine doing that. You couldn't imagine controlling and managing the flow of your playlist without music scheduling software. Well, today, AI and radio is the next big leap. It's the most significant transformative revolution for radio tools since music scheduling software. AI is your creative partner, the same way music scheduling software is your partner to make your station sound great. And it will transform how you create content to use on the air, online, and on social media. But you have to know how to use it properly. And a lot of people aren't using it right because it's complicated. AI is not going to replace you. It will empower you and make the creative process more efficient, more impactful, and it works to empower you on multiple platforms. You know, one of the biggest problems in radio today, and when we were doing the research for Radio Content Pro, we discovered that professionals like you are overwhelmed. You're expected to do more things today with fewer resources. You're wearing a lot of hats. That's a lot of pressure. And it's coming to heads of broadcasting, to market managers, to program directors, digital managers, radio personalities, producers. Everyone is under this pressure. You're doing more and more and more with fewer resources. You have to perform a daily show, usually on more than one station. You're cranking out daily social media posts and blog posts. And in your spare time, why not start a podcast or two? Now, radio needs to generate those new revenue streams, and they are challenged financially. All of those things are important, and radio does need to generate new revenue streams and turn out new content on new platforms. But how do you find the time to gather and curate all that content? Is it any wonder that you feel stressed and worried about keeping up with those demands? It's not. I get it. Everybody's under this pressure. Well, the solution is Radio Content Pro. Radio Content Pro is new, it's fresh, and there's nothing else like it. RCP's AI bots are tailored specifically to create radio content. It'll transform your station the same way music software streamlines how you schedule music. It makes you better, and it gives you more time to be creative. For over a year, I've been working with a team of developers at WP Media to bring next generation tools to broadcasters with Radio Content Pro. And in a moment, I'm going to show you a dashboard that's as intuitive as it is powerful. It's simple, but it's also elegant. And it's always on, always available on every device. Here's an example of how it can help you. Radio Content Pro provides fresh content tailored to your brand, and it's curated to fit all platforms on the air and online and on social media. Its optimized AI bots gather, organize, and curate content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, never sleeping. It's accessing verified, trusted sources that you can depend on. The source material is converted into ideas ready to use, everything at your fingertips. And because the AI is always searching, the content is always fresh. You know, a lot of shows are outdated because the prep was put together hours before or even yesterday or last night. And then when the afternoon show comes in, the new content hasn't come out yet. And the morning show's already used the best material. So the content is stale. There's nothing to use. Radio Content Pro leapfrogs all that and provides a lot more in addition. So imagine preparing for tomorrow's show. A lot of shows end up spending 90% of their time hunting and gathering content, looking for something fresh, looking for something new, almost desperate, and only about 10% of their time turning that into ideas and the ideas into entertainment. But the key in entertaining an audience and motivating your listeners to take action is what you do with that content. And we need to flip the script. We need to reverse that process and make it 10% of your time hunting and gathering content and 90% of your time curating it and turning it into entertainment. And that's where Radio Content Pro helps you. It brings everything together in one place. Now you can spend your time creating entertainment, not searching for topics. This is like having a full-time producer that's constantly gathering and curating your show's content. How much would that be worth to your process? Now, you don't want listeners talking about the story they heard on the radio. You want them to talk about what you said on the radio. And there's a big difference. Every show has access to the same stories, but unique content will happen when personalities find angles that are loaded with a point of view. Radio Content Pro delivers hot takes, opinions, perspectives, and point of view to inspire your reaction to a topic. Puts you on a path to hijack the attention. The prompts give you something to say about the content, not just pass it on as information. Plus, you get 4 phone topics to help you start interactive conversations. This is like having a talent coach inspiring your personality every day. So when's the last time you were proud of an information segment, like a newscast or an entertainment feature or a sports report? Creative writing for these features is non-existent. Or if you do it at all, it's usually thrown together at the last minute, not very often pre-read, and it's copied from a source that's written to be read and not spoken. Radio Content Pro rewrites every story in different ways for different applications, and it's written with a personality in mind. It's like having a full-time copywriter churning out information and turning it into a tune in, not a tune out, because it's written for the spoken word the way you speak. You know, at the end of the day, the goal is to drive ratings and build fans, bring more attention back, increase time spent listening. You can do that with a great teasing strategy, but teasing is hard. It's one of the hardest things in personality radio. Writing great teases takes time, and teasing skills aren't trained that much. It's hard until now, because Radio Content Pro provides 3 clever teases for every piece of content. And they're better than about 90% of the teases on the radio today, including a lot of the shows that I consult and coach. It's like having a marketing expert helping you promote every segment. Another problem that's solved is one of the complaints that is happening in radio everywhere today. It's the increased demand for digital and social media content. It's happening at companies everywhere. A lot of shows are spending more time in their preparation of blogs, videos, and social media than prepping their radio show. Social media is critical, but it's a grind. And who has time to do it right? And not every personality has the skills to produce digital content. Each Radio Content Pro story includes a digital section with a ready-to-publish blog article, specific posts for specific social media sites, and topics to start discussions. This is like having a full-time digital marketing team to help you with blogs, posts, videos, and more. And if there's ever a time where you need more details for one of the stories, everything's right there at your fingertips, just one click away. This is like having a research assistant on your team constantly gathering the facts to fill in gaps. But the best way to understand what Radio Content Pro does and the problems that it solves is to experience it. So let me take you online now. We'll go on a tour and I'll show you how Radio Content Pro works. Radio Content Pro has created AI bots that go all over the internet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's searching for content that is relevant to the individual brands. And when it finds it, it publishes it and curates that content into things that radio stations can actually use on the air, online, and on social media. It's constantly looking so that content is constantly fresh. And that's one of the problems that a lot of stations face. By the time the prep material for a show, like let's say you do a morning show, the prep content comes out the day before, and by the time you come in the next morning, it's already somewhat dated. And then the afternoon show comes in, and the morning show's used all the good stuff, And so there's really nothing left for you to use, but this solves all of that. So I've logged into Radio Content Pro has 6 different brands right now. There will be 6 more formats introduced over the next few weeks. I'm going to show you what those are, and I'm going to explain all those in just a minute. But first, I want to show you what it looks like. And I'm logged in here to, we call it Radio Content Pro Buzz. Buzz is for designed for CHR and hot AC stations. This story is a headline: a child's $100 tooth fairy gift sparks controversy among parents. This came out yesterday afternoon. The first section of each story is called The Gist. And the gist is 3 bullet points. When we were doing research on what radio stations needed, and we talked to a lot of personalities, and we found that they spend most of their time working on finding content and very little time in figuring out what they're going to do with that content. And they said one of the things that really wears them out is there's so many sources and resources to go to, and they're constantly clicking and they're looking for things. And sorting through all of the clutter on so many websites to find what they're looking for became overwhelming. One personality even told me that she was so tired of the story by the time she figured out if she wanted to use it, she wasn't excited about using it on the air anymore. So we solved that with the first section in each page. It's called The Story. The gist is 3 bullet points. Sometimes there's 4, sometimes there's 5, depending on how much depth there is in the story. And it gives you the headlines of what this is all about. So with one glance, you can see if this is something that you're interested in, you want to go further with. Child receives a $100 bill from the tooth fairy, left a mom in disbelief, spotted as the child flaunted it. You can see what the gist is all about. The next section is called The Summary. The summary takes the full details of the original source and isolates it. We shorten it and we put it into a context that's, again, meant to be spoken, not read. Some of our users are already taking this and using it as a news story. And if you read through that, you can see, and this is not a news story, obviously. This is more a piece of content. I'll show you some news stories in a minute. But if this were a news story, this is about the perfect length for a newscast on most stations. It takes all of the things that are most important about it, and it puts it into a paragraph or 2, again, depending on how much content is there. And it's completely rewritten, so it's ready for you to use. The next section are things that you can do with it on the air. So if you're a personality using Radio Content Pro, this is what you would go to for your show prep. And this is something that's innovative that you've never seen before, because it's the only show prep service that gives you teases. I operate another prep service called Personality Magnet. And the number one thing that our users have told me is that if you could write teases for us, we would love it. Well, look at these teases. Have you ever had a tooth come loose and thought you'd hit the jackpot? Wait till you hear what the modern tooth fairy is slipping under pillows. Grab your piggy banks, folks. There's competition afoot in the tooth fairy's economics, and you're not going to believe the new going rate for a pearly white. As the tooth fairy joined the ranks of inflation, this kid's tooth-spanning windfall is causing a stir at the school's pickup zone. Those are better than 90% of the teases that I hear on radio stations today, including some of the stations that I coach and some of the shows that I coach who do a pretty good job with teases. Next, it's commentary. So you remember the summary. I showed you the summary up here. This is written more like a news story. Well, down here in commentary, it's written more like what a personality would do as a bit. So if you're an inexperienced personality, or you need some inspiration, or you want to find a different angle, remember, Radio Content Pro is like having a talent coach on your shoulder giving you something to do with the content. And this is where that starts. So it puts it with a point of view, with a personality, and it takes out a lot of the details. So if you're talking over the intro of a song, or if you've got a minute to do a segment, a lot of personalities can take this and just ad lib from it, and you've got something that's ready to go, that's put into your own words. Next is responses. And this is, again, this is like having that talent coach that's inspiring what you do with the content, not what that content is. We want listeners to talk about what you said on the radio. We don't want listeners talking about the story that you talked about. So we create 3 responses, and we've got 3 different characters. We've trained the AI bots with a character profile. The first one is edgy, and it's more for irreverent stations or shows that don't take anything too seriously. Maybe they're sarcastic or cynical or have a kind of a darker look at the world, like on a lot of rock stations would use the edgy response. The mainstream response is more in line with a typical CHR hot AC show. It's designed after a Ryan Seacrest or an Elvis Duran. And family friendly is a show where the world is unicorns and rainbows. It's always taking a positive, uplifting, positive, and encouraging look at the world. So now kids need financial planners before they get to first grade. What's next? Interest-bearing accounts for allowance money? Or the family-friendly example. Wow, $100 for a tooth. It's like a fairy tale come true. But really, let's not forget the true magic. It's the memories, not the money. Awesome, right? Now, you may not use it exactly as it's written, but it'll inspire something that you can say about that topic. And so think about if you've got a station with an inexperienced personality, inexperienced show, and they fall into that trap of just repeating what the story is about. Now you can have something to say about it. And it's a great way to train personalities in how they can start having more of a perspective and a point of view. The next section is phone topics. You get 4 phone topics. The last one is a poll. It's like a yes, no, this or that. And it's designed that way so you can put this up on social media. Yeah, I put this on social media, and you put it up on Instagram or Twitter, X, or Facebook, and you can get people to start a conversation that way. But look at the topics. What's the most extravagant amount of money or gift you've heard of? The tooth fairy. Who can top this? Who's given more than $100 for a tooth? If you were the tooth fairy and had no budget, unlimited budget, what kind of gifts would you leave? Should there be a cap in the payouts, or is the sky the limit for dental rewards? And again, these are designed to inspire your creativity, not replace you, not replace your creativity. So with all of these, think of them as a thread on a sweater that you start to pull, and you think about where this could go. Should there be a cap on tooth fairy payouts, or is the sky the limit for dental rewards? Well, where I go with that is thinking about, well, what if I'm only giving my kid like $4 and a kid comes into school into second grade and they got $100? Now there's a competition, and my kid thinks that I'm being tight. Think of the places that you can take that as an air talent. And then the last one is a poll. $100 too much? Would you give that much to your kid? Yes or no? Too much? Not enough. What's the limit? So you can turn that into a poll. The third section on each piece of content is digital. And when we were doing our research for Radio Content Pro, we found that one of the things that personalities are hating about their jobs right now, they love being on the radio, but they didn't get into it to be bloggers or social media writers. And more companies are requiring shows to write a blog, to create a podcast, to do videos online, to post on social media. And they're putting a requirement to do X number of these per day. Some are 1 per day. I know one company that's requiring every personality on their station to do 4 blog posts per day. And the blogs can't have anything to do with what they talked about on the air that day, which I don't get, but that's their requirements. And the personalities hate it. We solved that for you with copyright-free content, because everything in Radio Content Pro has been curated and recreated for you to use. So here's your blog post title. Cut and paste it and put it in your publisher. And then here's your post. Now, the post in the blog is written somewhere like halfway between the news story, the summary that I showed you, and the commentary in the personality segment. It's a little bit longer than the commentary and just a little bit longer than the news story, the summary. So here's how that looks. You've got a blog post that's ready to be cut and pasted and published. a minute, and you've got the blog post done. Now, if you want to add to that, what I would do with it is find one of these phone topics and add that to the blog post. Now, enter the, talk about this in the comments below. What's the most extravagant amount of money you've heard of the tooth fairy giving? Tell us your story in the comments below. So now you're making it interactive and you're inspiring more engagement. And you can also go down to the bottom section here, the social thought starters, and you can add a point of view to it. We've got 2 comments for edgy, 2 for mainstream, and 2 for family friendly. If you're mainstream, you could say, so are kids' teeth made of gold? The tooth fairy seems to think so, with a $100 reward. You put that right up front in the first part of the blog post, and now it sounds like your voice. So you can edit this however you like, publish it, the blog is done, and it's engaging. But you're not just publishing on your blog, there's also social media. So here's a Facebook post. At the end of the Facebook post, you can make a link and send them for more information to your blog or to your audio on demand if you talked about it on the air that day, or to a podcast if you publish the segment on the air to that podcast. So now you're using social media and your blog to drive attention to the content that you did on the air earlier that day, which increases your profile. X and Twitter, there's 3 tweets that are written for you. One for edgy, again, in the same personality style that that you saw just a couple of minutes ago. Edgy, mainstream, and family friendly. And then at the bottom, we've got thought starters for social media that you can easily turn into a comment at the bottom of one of the posts or one of the tweets, and start a conversation with it that way. Pretty cool, huh? If you have more questions, you want to get some more details, some more information, sometimes there'll be a story about a new song, a new Beyonce song comes out. You can click there and it takes you right to the article source, so you can get anything there. It's like having a research director at your fingertips. So that's what it looks like, but how much content is there and what do you see? So let's go and look at the content that is, again, constantly updated. Here in San Diego, it's now 10:29, and on RCP Buzz, again for CHR and Hot AC, the last story was published 6 minutes ago. Advice for Victoria Beckham from her mother-in-law. A couple of minutes before that was Selena Gomez's new single, Love On, and maybe it's her final album. And you can see all the things, since we started this webinar at 10 o'clock, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new pieces of content that have been created. All of them fully curated with all the things that I just showed you. Now, each of the services is broken down by category, and the categories can be filtered. It's over here in the menu to the right. You can see, I'm going to show you daily features in just a second. I'm going to show you some of the other things first, and I'll come back to the daily features, which includes birthdays, history, and horoscopes. But human interest stories. So if you only want to look at the human interest stories or the things like what Florida man's up to today, you can click on that and it'll instantly resort all of the content in real time with the most recent content. And you can go back and you can see all of the human interest stories that are created. There's also Brightside is basically it's good news stories. So now we're looking at just the good news stories from today. I'm going to take that filter off and we'll click on Love Lines. Love Lines, the sexiest celebrity voices, Britain's choices are revealed, unveiling the one-day relationship. A sex expert analyzes signs of imbalance and commitment. Love Lines is love, sex, and relationships. Pop culture, everything happening in music, movies, video games, celebrities. Real Housewives of Miami. Russell Brand denies sexual assault claim. Pop music. Selena announces the new single. And then social sensations are things that are happening in social media. Hottest TikTok videos, trends that are happening, things that are trending all over social media. If you know what you're looking for, but you don't see it on the screen, like let's look at stories about what happened in Kansas City yesterday, you can type anything in the search box and it'll bring that up instantly. So this is as of 7:25 this morning, the Chiefs Super Bowl parade disrupted by the shootings, chaos unleashed, new videos emerging, Travis Kelce's support for the community, tragedy strikes. So you can see all these stories just since this morning about that. So it keeps you very much up to date. You can easily use Radio Content Pro as a news source if you are just wanting to keep up to date on everything that's happening. Now, I told you about the daily features. I'm going to show you these really quickly. We'll start with, I clicked on the daily features and it shows you things that are published every day and are consistent that you can plug right into the air if you're using features like this. The headlines of the day are news. And each of these news stories is written in a paragraph form in a style to be to be spoken, not read. So the Russian satellite killer weapon that came out yesterday, there's your story for it. It's written, ready to go. Super Bowl celebration turns tragic. Rice that packs a meaty punch. Micro beef. Canada's Maple Leaf anniversary. Cicada bonanza. Silent disco raises some not so silent controversy. So that's fewer stories than are usually out there. Usually we see 10 to 12 stories per day. Again, all written, cut and paste. You've got your newscast done for the day. Horoscopes. If you're doing horoscopes, you should make them entertaining. And that's how we've written all of the horoscopes. The AI writes it exactly that way. And look how clever the language is here. If you're doing horoscopes, make it entertaining. Get ready to rock out with your guac out. Signs are blending it up in the kitchen of life today. You know, a little bit cheesy, but adapt it to your style. So Aries, as the cosmos crank up your charm dial to an 11, it's a great day to flirt with new ideas or people. We don't judge. Just don't let your enthusiasm burn the toast. So it puts it into a style that can inspire your creativity. Today in music history is exactly what it sounds like. It's all styles of music, all formats. The Miracles, Nat King Cole, Dire Straits, Billy Idol, Careless Whisper Ram by Wham, Eminem in 1999, Slim Shady came out, and Lady Gaga, Born This Way. And again, it's a paragraph that gives you some information about what this is all about, and then it gives you a punchline or a payoff or something that you can say about that. A lot of shows who are using this are using the Today in Music History and some of the other features I'm showing you now as a resource to write trivia questions, to feed a game that they're doing, or something along those lines. Similarly, Today in History, again, paragraph, clever line. Here's all the things that have happened on this day in the past decades. And then there are also today's birthdays, similar. Here's who's having a birthday. Clever line, sometimes funny, sometimes just interesting. Matt Groening invented The Simpsons, forever altering our views on yellow skin and donut consumption. Dope. So again, if you're going to do birthdays, make them entertaining. And then jokes of the day are cheesy dad jokes. And there's 9 per day, 3 edgy, 3 mainstream, and 3 family friendly. So you get 45 jokes per week. Some stations use these once a week, like on Worst Joke Wednesday or Free Joke Friday. Some will assign these to a personality who uses them coming out of an entertainment report or a newscast or at the end of a show. But they're there for you, again, to inspire your creativity on how you use it and what you would do with it. So that's a quick tour of what Radio Content Pro is all about, how it works. You're probably wondering about price. Let's take a quick look at that, and also some of the formats that are available. We are in introductory pricing right now, and it's based on market size. Introductory pricing is locked in through February, through the end of this month, so you can lock in your rate. Each of the brands are market exclusive, which means Radio Content Pro Buzz for CHR and Hot AC is market exclusive by market. The country version is exclusive in the same, it might be available in the same market, but there'll be completely different content for the country stations. Small markets below 250,000, you get all of this for $79 a month. Medium markets are up to $500,000, $99 a month, and large markets over 500,000 are $129 a month. And again, those are going to be going up. If you'd like to save some money, you can pay annually, $7.99 a year, $9.99, and $12.99 a year. And each of those, again, will be going up, and it saves you a couple of $100 per year, a couple of months of your fees. So you can unlock your first 3 days free. If you click here, you can sign up and you can apply. Once we verify that your station and your market is available, we will send you a link and you can finish the registration process. That's where you put in your credit card, and it doesn't charge you for 3 days. So you get the first 3 days free so you can test it. If you don't like it, you can cancel and never get charged. If you do like it, do nothing, and 3 days later, it'll start charging you based on the options that you chose. That's all there is to it. Now, for some of you, this may seem overwhelming or confusing because AI is scary to a lot of people. But Radio Content Pro handles everything for you, and it works in the background. You get the benefit of the power of AI that inspires your creativity without all of the repetitive, redundant work that sucks your will to live. Or maybe you think AI can't be as helpful as good old-fashioned brainstorming. It's great to have collaborators and to take the time to do it. But don't think of Radio Content Pro as a tool that replaces your creativity. Think of it as that smart assistant that's always working to bring content and inspire you to brainstorm on your own. You will be your creative best. We've been helping people in many departments of the radio station solve a lot of the problems that they've been facing. It works for incredible show prep for personalities, with done-for-you teases for every story. There's 3 teases for every story. It helps the news department. It creates scripts that you can put on the air, basically cut and paste. It gives you responses and perspective for every topic, and phone topics that you can take and use almost as is to provide more engagement for your audience. It's great for new personalities who are having a hard time figuring out what to say instead of just passing on information. But it's also great for experienced talent who is looking to be inspired with a different perspective or point of view. Think of it kind of like a thread on a sweater that you start to pull and you find something better than you would have come up with on your own. For the social media and digital department, it gives you blog posts ready to publish, social media posts for the major platforms in your character and in your personality, conversation starters to engage in the comments, copy ready to be used as a script for video, and perspectives that will cause your social media metrics to soar, especially when you connect that to your blog. You connect it to your audio on demand online, to videos that you're doing, and back to what you're doing on the air. It creates a 360-degree visible platform, which is what personalities have to do and what stations have to do in order to remain viable and to grow their brand. There's a product that's customized for most stations, formats, shows, and brands. I'm going to show you what those are in just a second. But first, I want to show you a couple of things that early adopters have been saying about it. A VP of programming in a major market said, I'm going to get this for all of my stations immediately. The teases alone are worth the price for Radio Content Pro. It's something that group had been working on and were frustrated with because, like I said before, teases are hard. And they said, this is something that we're going to use to support the talent and train the talent how to write their own teases and make it better. Major market, top 10 market morning show host saw it and said, this is a game changer. It's exactly what we need. And a consultant for a station cluster in a media market said, I just wrote and posted 10 blogs for one of my clients. It took less than 45 minutes. By my math, that's about 4 minutes per blog, 4.5 minutes per blog. He said, this is freaking amazing. And it is. We're getting rave reviews from the early adopters and the ones who have been using it for the last couple of months. There's a product customized for you. Each is market exclusive for local stations. You can sign up today and lock it in for your market. And if you don't like it, cancel it within 3 days. You'll be charged nothing. There's 3 days risk-free. If you do like it, do nothing at all, and you'll be charged, and your credit card will start being charged. You can be charged monthly or annually if you want to save a little bit of money. Now, there are 6 brands available now, 6 products custom designed for specific formats. They are RCP Buzz, which is for CHR and hot AC, RCP Mainstream, which is for AC and other similar adult targeted stations, RCP Edge, which is for alternative and active rock stations, RCP Spirit, which is designed for Christian stations, RCP Country for today's country stations, and RCP Hip Hop for hip hop and rhythmic CHR. In the next few weeks, new products will be released, including the ones you see on the bottom line. On the far left, which is behind my camera right now, so you can only see my face there, but that's RCP Sports. Sports will be coming out soon. RCP Info for news and talk stations. RCP Classic for classic rock and classic hits. Hispanic for Hispanic stations, obviously. RCP Legends for classic country. And Classic Rhythm for classic hip hop and urban stations. Those are all coming. The top 6 are available now. Lock them in for your market. The bottom 6 will be coming out soon. And by the way, if you're interested in one of the bottom 6, but you want to lock in the introductory rates that are available right now for a limited time, sign up for one of the others. Like if you're interested in RCP Classic Rhythm and you're a hip hop state and it's not available, sign up for hip hop. A lot of it you'll be able to use. Most of it you'll be able to use. And when Classic Rhythm comes out, you can transfer your membership over to the one that's more appropriate for you. A lot of users are doing that already. But don't wait. Get your arms around your content and start being part of the revolution of how to use AI to leverage your creative abilities and inspire new, fresh ideas. You can revolutionize your content with Radio Content Pro. And now let's answer a few questions. Some of them have been asked in the chat box, and let's get to those right now. Tyler asks, Tyler says, where do I sign up? Take my money. You can sign up at Radio Content Pro, www.radiocontentpro.com. And you can sign up at any time. Once you fill out the application, you'll be able to get a confirmation shortly, and then you'll be able to finish the application. Tyler says, is there audio for the prep service? There is not audio now. That's on the development roadmap, and it is coming. And the audio innovations that we're bringing to Radio Content Pro are going to be stunning. It'll be not only audio that you can use for clips, it'll be audio that you can use as listener responses. So that'll be coming at some point this year. It is not available now. There could also be video. And another question we get asked a lot is if there are graphics that go with the social media posts, and that is also coming. There will be AI-generated graphics that can accompany that have no copyright restrictions. Everything in Radio Content Pro is copyright free, so you don't have to worry about getting sued. But all of those things are coming, putting the fine tuning on that. Spiros says he assumed that the content would be created locally per country, and it is not. He is in Greece. He's been using it for about a month. And he's asking if we are going to make Radio Content Pro local and produce per country or per region in the future. And the answer to that is also yes. And especially when the News Talk product comes out, I believe that a lot of stations, especially with the smaller staffs in a lot of markets, will use it to be a news writer and news producer for them. And so we are going to make available to you the ability to add regionalized content, localized content that comes right from your market, from your city, from your region, from your state. And there will be an additional charge for that because, and we don't know what that'll be yet, but yeah, that is coming as well. Right now, if you are using Radio Content Pro from another part of the world, or you sign up from another part of the world, there will be some content that comes from your country, from your area, but there's not going to be nearly as much as comes from North America, because that's where most of this content is generated. So if something happens in your country, if something happens in your area that cuts through, it's going to get published. It's going to get caught, and it's going to get published. A couple of days ago, there was a series of stories on almost all of the services about an accident that happened in South Carolina on I-95, and some interesting things that happened there with cattle. So yeah, sometimes it gets specific if it gets interesting enough. But if we published everything that was happening everywhere in the world to all of you, there would be so much content that was published, you would get lost in it, and it would be almost impossible for you to keep up with it. Private comment came in and said, "Why is it so cheap?" Well, thank you. And I'll peel back the curtain on this, and I'll give you the answer to that. One of the things that we discovered when we were doing research is that a lot of stations are no longer paying for personalities' resources. And I think that's sad, but I understand it at the same time, because budgets are tight and everyone's looking for nickels under the sofa cushions to try and hit their quarterly numbers. So when we designed Radio Content Pro, we made it as affordable as we can possibly make it. So if your company won't pay for it, it's affordable for a personality to be able to do so. And that's why with the introductory pricing, we're keeping it at $79, $99, and $129. Again, it's letting you in the door, and we'll lock you in at those prices, but those prices will be going up. And they'll be going up again when we start adding in new features to it. But you'll be locking in at that price. And as long as you remain a customer, as long as you remain a client, your prices are not going to go up. So take advantage of it at the time that you've got it right now. We also believe that with the social media and digital assets that are provided, you're going to not only be more efficient and more creative, you're going to generate revenue from this in a variety of different ways. If you can take some of the commentaries that I showed you and turn that into videos that drive traffic to your blog or to your audio on demand, rising tide lifts all boats. You're going to get more views. You're going to get more traffic. You're going to get more cost per thousand on your website. You can run video commercials in all of that content, and it could be a windfall financially for you. We've got a couple of users who came in early, and the personalities were paying for it out of their pocket at the beginning. And when the management team saw how much it was driving traffic to their website, they stepped in and said, "Hey, we'll be glad to pay for that now. We can see what value there is in that." So I don't see any more questions at this time. If you think of anything in the future, or if you have any questions that come up later, you can always email me, Tracy, Tracy, at tjohnsonmediagroup.com, or you can email Radio Content Pro directly. Send an email to hello@radiocontentpro.com, and we'll get right back to you. If you would like a private demonstration, if you'd like to look into any of these services specifically, and you'd like me to take you through a tour of it, or if your company would like to schedule a group presentation to everybody in all the management team or all the personalities in your company, just let us know. We will be glad to do that for you anytime that you like. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with all the technical problems and the audio problems at the beginning of the presentation. I hope you got some things out of this. I hope you learned some things about it. I hope you are impressed with it. I hope you use it, because I really do believe that this is something that can transform the creativity and inspire you to be more efficient, better, more creative, and it can be just as powerful for you in 2024 as music scheduling software was for me when we started using it back in 1981, and how that completely changed the way that we program our radio stations, this can completely change the way that you create content on your radio stations. I'm Tracy Johnson. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. And again, watch for that link later on today for a replay with the audio in the first part of the presentation. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.